All right, welcome everybody to another edition of Redskins Relaunch. I'm your host, Winston Hilton. Thank you very much for joining us this evening. Another wonderful Wednesday. It's not 9,000 degrees outside, so that's a bonus. If you've been in D.C. over the past, I would say, month or so, you've had basically a heat wave of about, 12 days or so. So hopefully everybody's cooled off just a little bit over the past couple of days as we've gotten a break from, the 90-degree heat that's basically entrenched Washington, D.C. With that said, now that it's cool in Washington, D.C., everybody's moving down to Richmond for a training camp that opens today. What a fantastic time. Yes, everybody, football is back. It's always one of those things where we do here on Redskins Relaunch. Guess what day it is? Guess what day? Yes, it's the whole old Geico commercial, the whole camel and everything. Yeah, guess what day it is? It's Wednesday, and it's the opening of training camp. Listen, let's tease what's coming up on the show. We got some interesting things coming up on the show. Basically, storylines entering camp. What are your biggest storylines entering camp? Obviously, we know the first top two that everybody's going to want to talk about, which is, you know what it is. We'll get to that later on in the show. Plus, Richmond, here we come, ready or not, or maybe so. We'll dip into Richmond and find out where the ins and the outs are as far as the River City is concerned. Finally, it's time to figure out the quarterback situation. 3 guys, 1 spot. Who's going to get that slot? Biggest hope for training camp. What do you hope? I guess your biggest hope for training camp. What are you hoping to get out of training camp or not to happen in training camp? See what I did there? All right. Thanks, USA Today. They obviously don't really care for the Redskins. We'll get into that later on in the show. Plus, funniest memes. Our guest tonight posted a crazy meme that literally my back still hurts from laughing so hard at that meme. Player that you're most excited to see in training camp. Want to know what player you're most excited to see? Who do you want to see the most in training camp? Plus, we'll talk some other DC sports and Nationals, update on them. They split in Atlanta. We'll see what happens. Wizards board. Some changes down Capital One Arena. And we have to go down some favorite Richmond spots. I know we have some huge Redskins fans that have gone to training camp ever since they've gone to Richmond in 2012, that first year with RG3. I want to know some of your favorite places to go, things to see, things to do. So get at us. We're live right now on Facebook as well as on DMVSTREAM.COM. We're also on Twitter. So make sure you get at us. First, before we start, wanted to introduce our guest tonight. He is a jack of all trades. He works everywhere. I'm going to basically go ahead and give him an honorary Jamaican citizenship card because he literally does have about 15 jobs, which would still end up making him a lazy lima bean. But wanted to bring in Sterling Blunt, local sports journalist here in the DMV area. Sterling, what's up, man?
How you doing? I appreciate you having me.
Oh, no problem, man. Listen, Sterling is a budding star. He's been on Sports Talk several times. Sports Talk on WJLA 24/7, and he always blows the doors down when he does enter the room. Yes, enter the room. Yeah, we got to talk about that a little bit later on. But first off, again, Redskins Relaunch. We got to talk about the Redskins. What are some of your biggest storylines entering camp?
Trent Williams is obviously number one.
Yep.
I don't care what you got to do. If you get a whole new medical team in July or August, if you got to pay the man, he has to be there.
Absolutely.
That offensive line, no matter who you start at quarterback, we saw what the running back situation was last year. He is vital. He is the piece. You got to have him back. And yesterday's move with Mason Foster. Yeah, there it is. Mm-hmm. Getting cut. That's crazy. 24 hours before camp. You already have Reuben Foster get hurt. It wouldn't be entertaining if it wouldn't be the Redskins if it wasn't this entertaining this early.
There's never a dull moment for the Redskins. I mean, to cut a guy, again, yes, he's at advanced age, 30, I believe he is, 9-year vet. I mean, how do you kind of just
Yeah.
the day before training camp, are you serious?
Right.
I mean, I wouldn't say that's ultimate slap because obviously, he can still pick up another job from somewhere else.
Yeah,
but,
definitely.
again, remember last year when he started talking bad about the.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yep.
I kind of think that may have been a little bit of payback.
Yeah.
on those comments, but Foster's agent went on Twitter and he just literally went in on the Redskins, which I don't blame him. How could you not go on an organization that, as he said, did not deal with good faith as far as dealing with his client?
Right.
So I don't blame him not one bit.
Especially if he didn't get a reasoning as to why, which is what we're hearing. So
ageism is real.
Yeah.
Ageism, and yes, they do say $4 million.
They do.
We get it. But it's sort of like, well, where's that $4 million going?
Hopefully the trend. That would be my thought.
Yes, exactly.
That would be my thought.
There you go. If you're gonna spend that $4 million, you might want to get rid of Mason and maybe even somebody else.
Yeah.
I mean, you could have shed that weight by getting rid of Josh Norman earlier in the offseason. You could have been able to keep.
Yeah.
You could have been able to keep Mason and sign another guy.
Right.
But that did not happen. So, Jay said earlier today that he expects Trent to show up.
Okay.
Bruce said earlier yesterday, that he expects Trent to show up. Question is, when is Trent going to show up?
When he wants to. I mean, if you look at his injury history over the past few years, he's right to question their medical staff. Look at what happened last year. I mean, you want to talk about, things to look forward to. Their biggest thing is health. Yes. I'll probably say that a lot because of how hurt they were last year.
Yep.
Health is their biggest key this year.
I mean, it's not even funny how often this team is hurt. You look at this, you look at the injury reports every week last year, and there was at least 5 or 6 guys on them, and you're just sitting there like, wait, you only have 53 guys. How do you end up playing with you almost have to commend Jay Gruden in the way that he's coached the team, even though we'll get to that story a little bit later on. So even if Trent Williams does or does not show up, how will this offense click with and without him?
I actually like the Redskins offense a lot.
Ooh.
Maybe I shouldn't say a lot.
Okay.
I think the Redskins as a team in general have the potential to be the NFC's Cleveland Browns this year.
Ooh, okay.
And I say that if you break down every part of their roster, from questionable coaching staff, Freddie Kitchens is his first year. We don't know what he can do as a head coach.
Right.
To a quarterback, and I'm going to go in and say Haskins should start, so I'm going to talk about this as if he is the starter.
Yes.
Haskins and Baker both have huge arms. They want to throw the ball, and they're both mobile at the same time.
Right.
Young quarterbacks. The running back core of the Redskins, I think, is the best in the league when healthy.
Okay.
You got guys. I really hope they keep P. Ryan this year. Chris Thompson and AP's back.
Wow.
I think
you want to keep P. Ryan.
I think they activate three every game. I would with that core.
Right.
The Redskins, I guess you could say their wide receiver field is questionable. You don't know who exactly is the 1, 2, or 3 there. Mm-hmm. You look at Cleveland, they got Juice and Odell. So the Redskins running backs with the Browns receiver core, like that balances itself out.
Okay.
And both defenses are almost elite. So I really think if they stay healthy, they can pull off a 10-6 record, maybe sneak a wild card.
Training staff?
You know?
Did I say that out loud? Did I say that? I guess
that's your question, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the offense looks really okay. Provided Trent
is
there, the offense would look good. You would also have to have somebody receiver step up.
Yeah.
Somebody's got to do something.
Yeah, absolutely.
They can't deal with the performance or the output that core had last year and translate it to this year, because that's not going to fly.
Especially knowing Jordan Reed's injury history.
Oh boy! I mean, don't get us started on Jordan.
I like him. I really do want him to stay healthy.
Absolutely. I would love to keep him. I would love to keep his talent, but if basically every time he gets on the field, it's a pass.
Exactly.
Defense is like, why am I going to have? Why am I going to drop the safety in the box if we know you're going to pass? It's fairly easy. Switching over to the Redskins defense, can this defense basically carry the day? Even with the loss of Mason Foster, can this defense play strong enough where they can, hold up a weaker offense.
I think so.
Potentially.
I think so. And I go straight to the secondary. It's a passing league now. You bring in Landon Collins. Josh Norman is back. We'll see if, he's still got that prime juice in him.
Oh, he's jumping bulls.
Yeah, so exactly. Like
Miss me with that bull.
You gotta
see what we did there.
There you go. You're strong on the back end in a passing league. You have to be right now. The linebacker core, you still got Kerrigan there, and I love the D line for the Redskins. I do think, like I said with the Browns, those will probably carry their teams until the offense starts clicking and puts it all together.
That was my next question. Landon Collins, will he be able to assimilate to this Redskins defense? Obviously, we know Josh Norman, what he can do.
Right.
What he hasn't done yet for the Redskins. But Chip Riera said earlier today on his DC Sports podcast that, this is a big year for Josh Norman.
Yeah.
Mind you, when he is motivated, like he was in that contract year with Carolina.
Yes, he was, yes.
He got a lot of dough.
Yeah.
So he may be motivated again, and he may be able to step up. But can Landon assimilate well enough, with the defensive backfield with Norman, with Monte Nicholson, and with Quentin Dunbar, who still, Gruden in his injury report today said he's healthy.
Yeah.
Can Landon be that guy?
I think he can. He was that guy in glimpses in New York. Mm-hmm. When you look at the Giants and what they'll probably be this year too, you really can't blame players. I think the talented players like Odell, like Landon Collins, for how things went there. When they had their glimpses, they shone. They were bright. And I think he'll have that in Washington, especially with Washington not having Swearinger anymore, which is a whole nother story right there.
Yeah, well,
I think it'll fit in well for them there.
Yeah, so, basically, are you ready for training camp?
I am. The end of last football season, around Super Bowl, I was done with football.
Yes.
And I was just, over it. And I haven't been like that in a long time. Right. I was happy when the Super Bowl was over.
Yes.
When it was a couple weeks ago, I saw, media days for college football. I was like, it's time again.
Yes.
And I'm ready. It's here.
Sometimes you get tired of it.
Yeah.
Sometimes you get tired. You're like, okay, well, I'm good.
The NBA offseason was great for us, carried us straight into media day, and here we are.
Yes.
Training camp.
Last year, this area had the whirlwind of the Capitals Stanley Cup.
Yep.
And then we went to the Nationals. They were a roller coaster situation last year. And then I'm going to say it, the Washington Valor ended up winning the Arena Bowl. So, and the Wizards were still relevant with John and Brad and all of those pieces that they had. And they signed, what's my guy's name? Dwight Howard.
Yeah.
Chocolate shoulders. So now this year you had that little bit of a lull. And it's actually time to get excited instead of just being worn out from the whole sports year. Now, mind you, I would rather have the championship after championship, but this little breather over the summer has been quite good.
The break was nice. It was needed.
All right, look, let's get to a break. We're going to talk about the battle at quarterback coming up right here on Redskins Relaunch. I'm with Sterling Blunt. We'll be right back. All right, welcome back to Redskins Relaunch. I'm your host, Winston Hilton. Thank you very much for joining us. You can get at me right here, Sports Talk, NC8 on the Twitter. Also, Winston Hilton on Facebook. And as always, you can catch everything on DMVSTREAM.com in our archives page. Okay, so we're here with Sterling Blunt. We're talking about the opening of training camp. It's one of those Oprah deals. Opening of training camp. It has started. Players are reporting, or players, with the exception of Trent Williams, has reported. Richmond this is what, its 7th year in Richmond?
Yeah.
You remember the first year in Richmond?
Yeah, RG3.
Yes, RG3. RG3. Where, I mean, literally, it's almost like the whole state of Virginia just...
Yeah.
Everybody was in Richmond. It was, it was packed. I mean, the amount of fans and the amount of fandom that went on during that training camp was absolutely insane. Do you see that happening now with Dwayne?
I don't know, and this is why I'm not sure of it. Going into that 2012 season, you knew RG3 was the starter. Mm-hmm. There was no question about it. That was why he was picked. That's why they traded up. This year, Dwayne may be on the bench starting to see week 1. Yeah. I don't think he should be, but so the hype might not exactly be there until the fans are sure, okay, this is our guy. This is who we're going with. If they end up announcing it, say, after preseason week 1, week 2, end of training camp is going to be crazy in Richmond.
Yeah, I don't know exactly who is going to start. Who do you think is going to start?
I think when you go and you take a quarterback in the first round, that's the guy you got to start.
Wow. Okay. Even if okay, go ahead.
I say this as a Ravens fan who was a big Joe Flacco fan,
right,
and did not want to see Lamar finish that playoff game. So I mean,
even though Lamar performed admirably, I mean, he started off poorly, but...
Yes, he did. My thing was, the film got out.
Yes.
The first time they played a team who had film on him was that playoff game, and we saw what happened.
Yes.
They didn't study the film on Flacco before that game. You throw him in the third quarter, see what happens. You're getting rid of him after the season anyway, so...
I can see that. I will say, to Lamar's credit, he did step up and made that game very close.
Yeah.
So... that's something to build upon for the Ravens. But I don't know if you are similar to Lamar. Yeah. He did have that time on the bench in order to kind of learn the ways. So it might not be a bad thing. Whereas if you see Dwayne or Haskins coming off of the bench, say week 6, 7, or 8, that might not be a bad thing as far as his development as a quarterback, as an NFL quarterback, not just a quarterback. But if you're going to be a quarterback, you better be an NFL quarterback.
Yeah, so if it comes to his development, you have him on the bench. I think if they don't start him and they end up bringing him in, it's because the Redskins are doing bad. If McCoy or Keenum start and they're doing well, Haskins is going to keep sitting. Absolutely. So if we get to the point where they're bringing him in, the Redskins season is already downhill.
Maybe not. Let's think optimistically where, it's like a 40-19 game and they're bringing in Dwayne for mop-up duty.
Hey,
let's hope. We can cross our fingers. Keep hope alive.
McCoy and Keenum have shown everybody. They're kind of like Ryan Fitzpatrick. You get him in 4 or 5 games, he'll spark you.
Yes.
Past that, he's a liability.
Yeah. Give him credit for that season in Minnesota in 2017.
Yeah.
He filled in admirably. I mean, he got the Vikings to that point.
That got him the contract he's on now with Denver.
Yes. Well, thank goodness they're still paying for most of that.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is the reason why Keenum is here. So thank you, Denver. We'll definitely take that. So, in my estimation, I might have to go ahead and let Dwayne learn the ways of the Force.
Yeah.
Through Padawan training. Let him sit down for a second. Let him learn. Let him see exactly. I mean, it's not as if he knows, but he hasn't gotten the real taste of it.
Exactly.
It's sort of like a vegan eating meat for it's sort of like you see where I'm going. It's like a vegan eating meat for the first time.
It's not what you wanted to say.
Yeah, no, not at all, not at all. But yes, it's similar to that. So, might as well just give him a little bit of time, unless Keenum and Colt just play poorly in practice and in the preseason.
Look at preseason. I mean, week 3 he could come out and play a great second half. a lot of people forget Russell Wilson was not supposed to be the day one starter.
Yes.
That happened because of his preseason performance.
Yes,
So,
and look where he is now.
Exactly.
So, I mean, there are cases where, yes, you do have those guys that start day one, and they're great.
Yeah.
But a lot of times you have those guys starting day one and they're trash.
Yeah.
Or they're not trash, but they become trash, which we definitely do not want here with the Burgundy and Gold. Speaking of the quarterbacks, the other quarterback, since the last time that we spoke here on Redskins Relaunch, we were talking about Alex Smith, talking with Angie Goff, and he was in the extenuator and the extenuator, not incinerator. Let's get that straight. Saying that he can't wait to get it off. Well, it's finally off.
Yeah.
So now I guess the real rehab begins for him. Do you think he ends up playing another down for the Washington Redskins?
I don't. By the time he comes back, he's 35.
Yep.
They've drafted their quarterback of the future, hopefully. You still got Keenum for 2 more years if you need him. Colt McCoy, I mean, maybe he's going to be a lifelong Redskin. We'll see. He doesn't need to come back. The contract he signed when he got here, most of that is, I think it was 80-something guaranteed. There's no reason for him to go out there as a 35-year-old man. And after this rehab and this injury, I mean, I wouldn't.
Well, I mean, no, why not? Why not? You got to play your contract. Everybody's making a big fuss about Trent and him not playing up to his contract. He needs to get out there and play his contract. I don't care if you got to run out there and get the kickoff stand or whatever.
Hey, I'm gonna come back and say you didn't let Mason Foster play his contract.
Ah, very nice. Nicely done. Touche. So yeah, I don't necessarily see him playing again for the Redskins. I would like to see it simply because he had been kicked and already been put down.
Yeah, absolutely.
All throughout his career in San Francisco. Going there, and then all of a sudden getting supplanted by Colin Kaepernick.
Yeah.
Going to Kansas City, getting supplanted by Patrick Mahomes. Here, obviously the damage has already been done, but you'd like to see him, go out on top, go out his way. Unfortunately, I don't know if that's going to be able to happen for him. All right, has anybody read the USA Today? Nobody? Anybody know of Nate Davis of the USA Today? Apparently, he put out his projections for the 32 teams, and let's just say I don't think he is a Redskins fan, or he might be, but he just has no faith whatsoever in the Burgundy and Gold. He basically said the Redskins are going to finish 3-13, tied for the worst in the league.
Yeah, I saw that post earlier this week, and I was kind of hoping it was a troll. Like, I think it had the Giants even at 6-10.
Yes,
and we know what their quarterback situation is.
Yeah,
it's
not good.
The first thing I saw was the 3-13. Then I'm looking around the whole page, and I saw the Super Bowl pick of the Chargers and Chargers over the Eagles.
Right.
And I'm not necessarily high on that pick either. So, just looking at that whole thing, credibility dropped real quickly.
Yeah, I mean, sure, you can see the Eagles, but it would take a Chargers miraculous playoff run in order, because you know who's going to be there.
Exactly. Don't get me wrong. I would love to see Phillip Rivers get a ring. I would love to. And those powder blue jerseys are my favorite in the league, too.
They do have some bomb jerseys. They do have some bomb uniforms. I mean, they that might be a question for another week on Redskins Relaunch. Who has the most versatile uniforms?
Yeah.
Uniform combos. Because they literally have about 8 combinations. They're like the Oregon of the NFL. They literally could go any which way.
Yeah.
We'll have to get into that. Had the Chargers win the Super Bowl over the Eagles. Yeah. I can see the Eagles there, maybe. Chargers?
I'm not betting up against the Patriots until Brady's done.
Until Brady, yeah, absolutely.
If he hangs it up, then I'll switch.
Did you see him jumping off the cliff?
Yeah, I did see that.
And everybody making a big fuss about him jumping off the cliff with his daughter?
Yeah,
I wish my dad would have made me jump off the cliff. I needed him to hold my hand. I had to do it myself. It wasn't until I was 35 until I did it. But, if you did it when you're 6, it's not bad. He's just being a good father.
Right.
Oh, get out your heads, people. Get out your heads. All right. What is your biggest hope for training camp? We put this question out there on Facebook right now. What is your biggest hope for this training camp? What are you wishing for? What do you want to happen? What don't you want to happen to the Redskins in this training camp. Get at us right now on Facebook. We're live streaming right now. What is your biggest hope for the Redskins this training camp?
Get out of it healthy.
Yep.
That's it.
That's
get out of it healthy.
That's a big head shaker. Yes, absolutely.
I mean, first day at OTAs, and we saw like him off the field or not. On the field, he's amazing. Reuben Foster, he tears his ACL first day.
First play, first day.
Yeah, I mean, we didn't even get to see the rookie running back last year. Name Geis. Didn't get to see him because of an ACL.
Yep.
AP, hopefully he comes back and he's what he was last year.
Yes.
And apparently we heard he needs the money now, so.
He's going to be playing. You know what's funny? I would hate to be a defensive back in his way.
Yes.
Motivated.
If I'm broke,
right,
somebody's getting run over.
Right.
It's happening. It is happening. I think those are two big points as far as your hopes. You want to make sure that, they come out healthy, no more injuries. You hope that Trent is there.
Yeah.
That's definitely one of them. And you want to see players returning like Geis. And you want to see players returning like Cam Sims.
Yes.
Some of those guys that weren't able to shine last year that they do have. And even rookies this year. DJ Bland checking in says that he wants to see Kelvin Harmon and Jimmy Moreland. He says those are the two players that he's most excited to see. I would tend to agree with him. You want to see some of these rookies step up. You want to see them actually make plays, not just on the field. Not everybody can be on the field, but you want to see them actually making some plays in order to help their team.
Yeah.
Which, some rookies have done that recently, but you wanted them to make big plays. That's kind of been the Redskins' problem over the past several years. They haven't had that big play. Who made the three biggest plays for the Redskins last year?
That's a good question.
Adrian Peterson.
Adrian
Peterson
all
Peterson
three,
is
yeah.
89 years old.
Yeah.
What? I mean, you look. You got guys like Paul Richardson. He did have a long score for a touchdown. You have players like Josh Doxson, Chris Thompson, but he was the guy.
You think they're looking back and they're regretting not making Deshaun Jackson happy now?
I think they're regretting not making Pierre Garçon happy.
Yeah, that's the
That's Winston's boy.
He may have been he may have been an agitator. He may have been very abrasive. But on the football field, there are probably a couple of guys that you want to have on your team.
Yeah.
And he's one of them because he's a guy that probably would play every position if he could.
Yeah, he would.
Lineman, even at the size that he is right now, he probably could still play lineman.
Yeah.
And he's one of those guys that are like that. He loves football.
Yep.
So when you have that sort of player in your locker room, sometimes it wears off the right way.
Yeah.
And so, sometimes it rubs off the wrong way. And apparently the reason why he's gone is that it may have rubbed off the wrong way. All right, so we're going to take a quick break. Want to know some of your, again, funniest memes. Sterling had one, again, that blew my socks off months ago, but wanted to get some of your thoughts out there in the Twitter land. And again, question, what is some of your biggest storylines entering camp? First practice is literally hours away. By the time, as my friends will always say, you got to wake up and a bye-bye. And that's it. You're waking up and you're bye-bye off to practice. So wanted to get some of your thoughts on some of the biggest storylines entering camp, and what players are you most excited to see? And what are your biggest hopes coming into or for the Redskins leaving this training camp or in this training camp? More of your thoughts, more with Sterling later on as Redskins Relaunch continues. We'll be right back. It's the Frappuccino. All right, welcome back to Redskins Relaunch. I'm your host, Winston Hilton. Thank you very much for joining us. Boom, right there. Twitter, Sports Talk, NNC8. I'll probably end up changing that name once we get to football season. We got some changes coming in store to Redskins Relaunch. Just a Redskins Relaunch revamp. That's a lot of R's. A lot of R's. Rough Riders. RR, double R. Isn't that what Eve used to say? We're here with Sterling Blunt, local sports journalist. You can hear him matter of fact, you hit him. Tell him where you are.
Man.
Tell him where you're at. What's your social media? The whole line?
Twitter at Sterling19 _ Same thing on Instagram. Facebook Sterling Blunt. Hockey season's about to get started in September. So I'll do the Capitals beat for 13:40 a.m. Fox Sports. Get ready for that. Football season's here. The Wizards making some moves. I'm about to be a very busy man.
How did you get into was hockey your first sport? How did you get into that?
So hockey was actually just fandom. I could never skate, so I never played. But but I did play lacrosse. Absolutely love lacrosse. The two sports are very comparable.
Right.
Basketball is always my first love.
Okay.
So yeah, it was a matter of opportunity came. Somebody had to cover the Capitals playoff run. I'm a fan. I was watching the games anyway, so why not?
Yeah, right place, right time,
exactly.
Right time. There's nothing wrong with that. If you live in this area, if you grew up in this area over the past 20 years, you know that the Caps have been, pretty gosh darn good, especially with number 8 and number 19. So, you could see probably for a generation, there's going to be a lot of hockey fans in this area.
Yeah.
Which is a credit to Ted Leonsis for, the whole revamp after the whole Jaromir Jagr thing and whatnot, because that was a disaster.
Yeah.
And he definitely did that the right way. But now we have, we have the Wizards and that whole thing. You know what? We'll talk about that in a second. First off, wanted to get to some of your thoughts about what player are you most excited to see this training camp?
It actually is Geis for me.
Okay.
I loved him at LSU. I had high hopes for him at the beginning of last season before the injury. They say he's 100% healthy, even though he had a hamstring in OTAs. They say that's cleared up now.
Right.
So I really want to see him. If he can become the number one guy, Peterson's a little bit older. Chris Thompson, he has a tendency to drop the ball every now and then.
Drop passes or just drop as in a la fumble?
I was talking fumble, but, the passes too is an issue out the backfield. Yeah. Can Geis be a 3-down back if he needs to? I don't think they should go that route. I think they should rotate all three. Keep them fresh all season. Hey, you get a wild card spot. It's going to be big going into the playoffs. It's going to be cold here in January.
Yeah.
Say we get some snow. We never know how this weather breaks out. To have all three of those guys in January.
Could be 90 degrees in
it could be that too.
100 degrees in September.
It could be that too.
Yeah. Global warming.
Yeah. I think Geis is my number one guy.
Okay.
Outside of Haskins, who's I think an obvious choice for a lot of people.
Yeah, obviously, I think a lot of people would say Haskins. I'll go defensive side. I'll say Landon Collins.
Okay.
I want to see exactly what he can do on defense. I want to see, now with Mason Foster gone, who exactly is the captain of the defense?
Yeah.
Who is the guy? Okay, so last year, who was the captain of the defense? DJ Swearinger.
Yes.
How do you have a guy that literally just walked into the door is your defensive captain? And we're going to do the same thing again this year.
Yeah.
Where the guy that walks in out of the street is your team cap or your defensive captain. Like, that probably shouldn't happen. I guess the de facto defensive captain is probably going to be Jonathan Allen, simply because of his presence, and he hasn't quite reached that status.
Yeah.
But he's reached a status that is on the cusp of being that guy.
You go there. I'm gonna go a guy who's been there a while, Ryan Kerrigan. I think how long he's been there, he is one of the leaders, whether he gets the captain title or not. He's
Correct.
one of the big leaders for that team.
Yeah, he's gonna have to step up this year because, he's one of those. He's a middle of the road guy.
Yeah.
Sometimes he wows you. Sometimes you're like,
yeah,
bruh.
Yeah.
Get there. And I would love to see him. What's funny, and I'm sure a lot of Redskins fans watch film. They watch the games. And I swear I would say about 3 or 4 times each game he's held. He's
Yeah.
he's literally like this. He's rushing around, and the offensive lineman has him like this, and you're like, nobody wants to make the call. What are we doing over here? So hopefully his production will increase, or his production will basically relate to as far as his performance on the field.
Yeah.
Because I think he's normally there, but he just can't get quite there.
Yeah.
So we'd love to see him get there actually this year. All right, I wanted to find out people's favorite memes. Anybody out there has a favorite meme? I've been asking for most of the week. Please send me your memes. I want to know some of your favorites. I mean, you obviously have the Jordan crying thing. That's real. You know, that's really popular. Or any Kanye one. Any Kanye one is probably extremely popular. But Sterling sent one a couple of months ago as he was preparing for a television performance, and it was. We're just gonna have to play it for you. You have that clip? I'm getting the. I don't have that clip. Anyway, it was. We'll have to edit in post or what have you, but it was basically of a. Let's just say it was a convenience store.
Yeah.
All right. And it was a convenience store, and there was a guy. He held the door open for this one other gentleman who came in with. Let's just say he had pimp gear on. With a chalice and everything. He had a pimp cup and the whole nine with glasses.
Very accurate description.
Yes. He had almost a robe on, but it wasn't quite a robe. It was like one of those jackets you just wear on your shoulders, and he literally walked in. We're gonna play this later on, but I mean, I wanted to know some of your favorite memes. Where'd you find that?
On Twitter.
Oh my gosh! All right, see, Twitter's just evil, okay? Because you can find anything on there.
Absolutely.
Stuff that you don't want to find. Stuff that you want to find that you didn't realize you didn't really want to find. It's like, what?
Absolutely.
Twitter.
Absolutely.
Okay. All right. It's
I forgot the original caption I saw it for, but I was like, no, this video is greatness. I saved it immediately.
Yes. It was very timely. DJ Bland checking in. He says, I call it getting fish hooked. They did it to Arakpo, and now they did it to Kerrigan.
Wow, that's a good point.
Same thing with Arakpo. He was the same type of. I don't know if it's the teaching that we're doing over here.
Yeah.
But for some reason, they always get fish
Coming
hooked.
off that edge.
Coming off the edge, they end up getting fish hooked, and they're unable to get to the quarterback in a timely fashion. And it never gets called by the referee. It's plain as day. Everybody can see it except the referee, but what are you gonna do? Would you really want to be a referee?
Nah, not at all.
Nah, I'm good.
Not at all.
I mean, it's not that I can't handle the pressure. I'm sure you probably handle the pressure, but nah, I'm good.
Yeah.
Unless that check was right.
Then we can have a conversation.
Unless the check was right, then we can talk.
Let me
then
see some numbers.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, we alluded to this earlier in this segment. We talked about the Wizards. We got some other DMV sports to get into, including the Nationals, and maybe we'll talk some Capitals. They had some big signings actually today. Big signing for the team. This is Redskins Relaunch. We're going to be back with Sterling Blunt here in just a couple of minutes. We'll be right back. Oh, man. I could have sworn I sent you that meme.
Went to Ashburn. Have not been to Richmond.
Hey, what's up? This is Redskins Relaunch. I'm your host, Winston Hilton. Thank you again for joining us. We're here wrapping up the show with local sports journalist Sterling Blunt. Sterling, thank you again for joining us. Again, tell everybody where they can catch you, your social media handles, and what have you.
We're on Twitter and Instagram at Sterling19_. On Facebook at Sterling Blunt on Facebook. And you can watch Sports Talk tomorrow night. Hey, there's a plug.
You know I walked in. You might even see that. You might even see the meme that we were talking about, where the guy he's gonna walk in. You might even see that meme on Sports Talk tomorrow night with Sterling and Chip Riere. All right, wanted to wrap up the show. We got to talk about some other DMV sports. The Nationals baseball. Everybody knows I love baseball. Big baseball fan. Big Nationals fan. Big Orioles fan, for that matter. But the Nationals, they're on a roll. They split a series in Atlanta over the weekend. Matter of fact, Monday's game against the Rockies, when they returned home, was rained out. They made it up. They won last night 11-1. Trey Turner hit for the cycle. Game 2 of the series, which was actually game 1, but there was a makeup double. It was Monday night's makeup. First game of the doubleheader Wednesday afternoon. The Nationals won 3-2. Anthony Rendon with the, game-winning home run in the 7th inning. Back to the series in Atlanta. You would have loved for them to go 3-1 down there, make up some ground with the against the Braves. But all in all, it was an okay series. You saw a lot of fight from the club.
Yeah.
Game 2 was very disappointing, especially to see Francisco Rodney kind of blow that game.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not quite sure exactly if that was on him per se. I mean, maybe Davey makes another choice, but he said that he wanted Rodney in there. He did not want Sean Doolittle to come in for a 6-out save, a 5-out save.
Yeah.
So you can see that happening. But they did. They won Game 3 in comeback fashion, which was fantastic. That was a great game. But Game 4 was basically a throwaway since Scherzer was injured.
Exactly.
You would love to have seen that actually go down with Scherzer. Sunday Night Baseball, ESPN,
definitely.
And he's going against the Braves. That's made for TV. So unfortunately, they split in Atlanta. They didn't lose the series. They didn't win the series. It's wasted time, wasted opportunity. It was a waste of time. They might as well just not even play that whole series. But in any event, with Scherzer out, you got to see some of the other starting pitching. Joe Ross, he did not pitch bad in that.
No,
Sunday
he
night
didn't
game.
at all. He didn't.
Only gave up 3 runs. Just that the bats couldn't produce.
Exactly.
You saw Austin Voth. He actually filled in admirably in the fifth starter spot. And Eric Fetty, who pitched today, also had a pretty good game.
Yeah, he did.
I mean, when you look at some of that talent that's there, obviously the team likes those arms, but who becomes that 5th starter?
That's a good question right now. I think, with the trade deadline coming up, you see if you can go out there and get somebody. Bumgarner's been up and down on the market, and there's a couple other guys out there. They definitely got to improve the bullpen, I think.
There's no doubt about that.
You remember how they started the season there, and because of the winning streak and them being top of the wild card right now, the talk on that has died down. But Jesus, if they lose a game in October because of the bullpen and there's no move made now, heads are going to roll.
Ooh. And now, Mike Rizzo did sign an extension. Could he be like Ernie? Could he be like Ernie where you signed a secret extension and all of a sudden you're gone the next year? It could be the spot. I guess that was my next question. Should the Nats make a trade? That's a question on Facebook right now. Everybody go ahead and you answer the question on Facebook Live. We're live right now on DMVSTREAM.com's Facebook page. About the question was, should the Nationals make a move to bring in a pitcher before the deadline, whether it be a starter or a reliever?
Yeah, they have to do at least one of the two.
Right.
You do 2 if you can with the position you're in, but they have to do at least one of the 2.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. The problem is with the Nationals is that they've made moves that have depleted their minor league system, some of their stars. So really and truly, the only guy that you might have right now that's an asset is Carter Kieboom, and you don't necessarily want to get rid of him because what happens if Rendon ends up not signing back, then you're at a hole at third base.
Yeah.
Whereas you could possibly move Trey Turner to third, keep him at short, and you deal with second base as you can deal with it.
Yeah, that's one of the things. I mean, being handcuffed, I don't know if it's a Washington, D.C. sport thing with front offices and, handcuffing the money. Well, yeah, that's an issue for them right now. Maybe if they don't make a move, maybe that you break it down and that's why.
Yeah, I could see them. More than likely, they'll probably do the route like they did with Francisco Rodney. They'll look for somebody who's out there just flying around, just not doing anything.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, hey, can you still pitch? Well, where do you pitch at? 92? Oh, that's good enough. Can you locate? Sure. All right, come on in. And then all of a sudden you have your average age on the roster is 35 instead of 26. Based off of two guys.
Yeah, I think Bartolo Colon's still out there. He'll take over.
Who's it? Big Sexy?
Big Sexy, yeah.
Big Sexy. I mean,
he's like
hey,
45.
Look, he can mash. He can hit.
Yeah.
I mean, he might not be able to hit as well as Strasburg right now. Strasburg got a hit. Strasburg got a hit last night. At one stretch, he was 4 for 4, which for a pitcher, I mean, if you've ever been to a Nationals game and you've seen Strasburg hit at BP, he can hit.
Yeah, he can.
He can hit. I mean, he's awkward looking, but he can hit. He can hit.
The ball travels.
Yes, he's a big boy too. So I mean, it's not like he's skinny like me. Do they need another bat?
I don't think so. And if you would have asked me this question about a month ago, I would have said yes. I don't think so. Like Sunday night, you're gonna have nights where the bats just don't work. Mm-hmm. But overall, I mean, look at last night, 11-1. I think the bats work. You just got to get them to work consistently.
Yes, and at the right time. I always said with this team, sure, the Nationals have always had games where it's sort of like they'll win, 14-3, and then the next night they almost get no hit.
Exactly.
No, bro, keep that thing going.
Right.
Keep it going. You want to be consistency for this team, and more importantly, I've always preached this, is that timely hitting.
Yeah.
You got to be able to. If you have a runner on second, you got to knock that guy in.
Exactly.
And that tends to be somewhat of an issue, even though it has not been an issue over the past month and a half. I mean, the Nationals are 35-15.
Yeah.
What?
I think I heard that's best in the league since
best in the league. Yep. About 700 the 700 winning percentage.
Yeah.
I mean that's insane. If they can keep that going, watch out.
To get there at one point this season, they were fifth worst in the league. Like, they were giving the Orioles a run for their money with worst record.
They were a couple games ahead of the Orioles.
Exactly.
That's terrible. Well, the Orioles also had a good start.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah.
They did.
Yeah, they had a great start.
Provided some false hope.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, gosh. I mean, mind you, over the history of this Nationals team, whenever they did make the playoffs, it was always a cakewalk by the time they got to September. So maybe this might be a change where, they end up having to fight. Now, remember the Capitals, when they won the Stanley Cup, they were fighting for their lives.
Absolutely.
Yes, they did win that division, but they were a month out of the playoffs. They still were kind of, in a heat for that division title.
Absolutely.
So it might work out well. All right, let's switch our gears to the Wizards. I was down at the Wizards announcement where they ended up. All right, I don't even know how to really explain this. Okay, basically, let's equate it to this: the Wizards no longer. They kind of have basically a board of directors for all of Washington basketball. Let's put it that way.
I think that's a way for people to understand it.
Yeah. I mean, look, I like Ted. Ted is very analytical, and he's very he's a smart guy. So he said at the press conference, he surrounded himself with ideas people and people that have different ideas and very diverse. He brought in Sashi Brown from the Cleveland Browns.
Yep.
Football and basketball. Wait, what? Okay, so he brought him in. He also took off the tag of interim general manager and now has promoted Tommy Shepard to official general manager of the Washington Wizards, Washington Mystics, and the Capital City Go-Go.
Yep.
All right. You follow me now? Okay, so He also brought in Mike Tebow will continue his role as the head coach and general manager of the Washington Mystics, but he is also a consultant on this new venture. I'll get to the name in a second. He's also brought in Daniel Medina, a doctor who was with FC Barcelona most recently as one of their physicians with the team. And he's also brought in JT3, who I was excited to see coming back, even though he's look, Thompson really can never leave DC.
Absolutely.
Just saying.
Yeah.
When I asked him, I said, "Welcome back." He said, even though I know you've never left." He said, "How you know I haven't left?" I said, "Dude,
you're a Thompson.
Really? You're a Thompson. Come on now. Big John's here. Ronnie's here.
Right.
You're here. You're here." So in any event, these 6 men, along with Ted Leonsis, are now going to be heading up what is called the monumental, again, like I said, it's very difficult to explain, monumental basketball, which includes the Wizards, Mystics, and Go-Go. So all of those men will decide the fates and the direction of all 3 of those franchises, including, I'm sorry, I failed to mention the esports. I failed to mention esports because Ted would be really pissed if we didn't mention esports, which actually Wizards District Gaming is quite successful.
Yeah,
if you follow them on all sorts of different avenues, Twitch, I think, or whatever avenue that they use for e-games or whatever. But those men will lead that charge. Will it work?
I mean, at the end of the day, it comes to you can hire as many people as you want to. If they don't produce on the court, then that's our issue. I think number one is, does Brad sign this extension?
Yes.
I mean,
yeah.
I mean, I think nothing happens until we have something from Brad. Whether it's I don't want to sign it now. I want to try it all NBA, get a supermax. He does 3, 2, or 1. If he says, I'm still not completely confident. I'm of the mindset, unless he's telling you I want to try for the supermax, which I'm okay with.
Right.
A lot of people argue that he should have been on the All-NBA team last year.
Yep.
If he comes out, John's not playing this year. If he comes out and he balls and he gets there, let the man bet on himself.
Yes.
Now, if you tell him he's not signing it and it has nothing to do with that, I'm on the phone with Pat Riley. Quickly.
Yeah.
Get him out for what you can.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Now, the team has said that they intend on offering him the extension. Whether or not Brad will sign it, and everybody said this on Monday, whether or not he signs it, that's up to him. But they said the second that they're able to offer him, they're going to send the paperwork through fax, email, whatever they want, PDF, send it through text, whatever they're going to do. They're going to send it over to Brad. Brad's busy right now. He's getting ready for a baby.
Yeah, number 2.
I was about to say, don't expect him to answer anytime quickly. Let him deal with that baby number 2, because 2 under 2.
Yeah.
Yeah, the first one just turned 1 year old.
Yep.
Yeah, 2 under 2. You're literally not going to hear from him until training camp.
Yeah.
Forget about it. You're lucky he's actually going to answer a phone call. First kid's going to have the phone playing Baby Shark or something like that. In any event, I guess everything comes down to John and whether or not, Brad, A, and then B, John, whether or not he's able to come back healthy, because you still got to pay that man.
Oh, yeah. Well, how do you like the whole rumor of Wall and Bill together to Miami? Like, if you do that, of course, you're completely starting from the bottom. And is Thomas Bryant? Is that your anchor? Is that your veteran guy now?
Thomas Bryant and Rui Hachimura and Troy Brown Jr., Admiral Schofield, stars.
A couple more lottery picks.
Stars, yeah. I mean, they're basically pulling in Oklahoma City.
Yeah, absolutely.
They're pulling Oklahoma City, which, it remains to be seen whether or not they'll be able to, reform and reshape themselves. But who knows?
Yeah, so
who knows?
Washington basketball is going to be interesting.
It worked for Philly, kind of.
Yeah.
I mean, they still have not made the finals, but
I heard Ben Simmons is going to attempt jump shots this year.
Well, it would help. The previous point guard did not do that either.
This is true.
I mean, more power to Markelle, but
yeah,
I think Markelle needs to fly in Mike Jones to his house immediately. Markelle, his jersey's right behind you. He needs to fly him up there immediately.
Absolutely.
Because that, I mean, you know, or I don't even know. Back to the Wizards move and that whole thing. Something tells me that all of those moves and the reformation of monumental basketball is to lure free agents here.
I mean, at the end of the day, and I think if we learned nothing, we learned this offseason, these guys want to win.
Yes.
And if Wall and Bill come back and say, with this Eastern Conference without LeBron, the Wizards become a middle-of-the-pack Eastern Conference team. Playoffs, you're looking anywhere between like 4 and 7 seed. Is that appetizing to Giannis in 2021? And that whole class in 2021, actually, if we talk about it,
right.
Paul will be up again, Kawhi, LeBron's up again. So, I mean, can they do enough winning before that year? Because next year is really not that huge.
Well, Brooklyn hasn't necessarily won, but the Wizards are almost shaping themselves like the Nets did over the past 2 years, where they are developing their young guys. Yeah. It helps when you actually play Troy Brown.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
So they're developing their young guys, and hoping that they can step up and actually be competent NBA basketball players. You would have John healthy. You would have Brad hopefully re-signed healthy.
Yeah.
And yes, you can draw some of those other free agents, because guess what? The last important free agent class, we couldn't even get a meeting with the guy.
Exactly.
So
exactly.
At this point, yes, some of the moves that Ted did just make this week does possibly, it could be in the reformation of the franchise where, like John Thompson III's role was player development.
Yeah.
Whereas, you look at some of the things done out in Golden State, you see Kevin Durant doing things with Silicon Valley and things like that. Why can't that happen here in Washington, D.C., where you have government movers and shakers?
Absolutely.
Boom. It's a win-win. But, I digress. I mean, it could be for the purposes of luring some of those free agents here, because it would mean basically it's not the Wizards of the past. It's not it's not a dictatorship by Ted or by Ernie or by one GM. It's a group of people that are coming up with decisions for the basketball franchise.
Yeah. Tommy Shepard, he was actually on Woj's podcast this week, and I listened to that today driving around. And one of the big things Tommy stressed was he's a team guy. Like, whenever decisions need to be made, of course, he'll technically get the final decision, or Ted, whoever you want to go with. But he's very team-oriented. He wants everyone in the room. And that includes Scott Brooks, who I called for his job earlier this year.
Yeah.
And it's starting to look like with this rebrand and this reform, they believe in him a lot, and he's going to stick around a bit longer. So we'll see.
Oh, boy. All right, Scotty. Scotty's going to have to produce. Some of these rookies are going to have to come in and really step up and play well.
Yeah. I mean, you look at Carol Lawson. She's on the Boston coaching staff now. She was right here.
Yes.
That was an opportunity.
Yes. Yeah, well, I am not going to step foot in that pond of... I'm not going to step foot in that pond. If you follow the Wizards, you know exactly what I'm talking about.
Exactly.
All right, let's go back to the Redskins as we wrap up the show. I wanted to get everybody's thoughts on some favorite spots in Richmond to go to while you are there. I know a lot of folks at the Redskins tweet team are going to be there. A lot of Redskins fans are going to be there. Want to know some of your favorite thoughts. I have a couple of mine. Ray and Ned's barbecue spot that's literally right around the corner from the Bon Secours Training Center. Great barbecue, and you will get your stomach full. So if either of you are ever down there,
Isn't it Buzzin' Neds?
I'm sorry. Yes, Buzzin' Neds. Absolutely, my bad. Yes. See,
I go to Richmond.
Yeah, you know Richmond. Yeah. Well, if you know Richmond, what other spot? Give people some heads up on what spots to hit.
You took mine. That was my first one, Buzzin' Neds. But then other than that, there's Joe's Inn is a good place, and there's a place called Lunch and Breakfast.
Oh.
So breakfast for breakfast and then lunch for lunch.
Oh, wow.
Oh, you had me at hello.
Yeah. A lot of VCU friends, so I've been down there.
Oh, yeah. A lot of anything for breakfast. I'm about that life.
Yeah, same here. Same here.
Any For our 21 and over friends, are there any other spots to hit?
Yeah, there's some really good bars. I would say Uptown is more of a kind of adult crowd oriented than downtown is more college club vibe, and then Uptown has some really cool bars in the Fan area. So I'm sure you guys have been around there. You know about the Fan, and I would recommend that. Society, District 5, stuff like that.
That's where places where you go if you see a player, tell them to go back to his
Right,
dorm room.
exactly. Right.
Don't go back, hit the books, get back into the playbook, okay? Don't mess around with going out to the places. Yeah, unless you're getting barbecue.
Right.
In which case you're literally back at the facility working that stuff off immediately. Mama J's, I heard is pretty good too. So if anybody's around, definitely hit up those spots. All right. Sterling, thank you very much for joining us. I really appreciate you coming on. I thought it was good. We had some fun. Look, anytime anybody's on Redskins Relaunch, and I want to open an invitation to anybody who wants to come on. You gotta reach me. You gotta reach me. I'm not that hard to find. See, boom, right there. It's easy. Hit me up. We'll chat. We'll talk. We'll talk some Redskins. I'd love to talk some Redskins on here, so please get at me. I'll definitely, my ears are always open, so definitely check me out. All right, with that said, you can catch each and every episode of Redskins Relaunch on DMVSTREAM.COM page. Just go to Redskins Relaunch tab, and you can catch everything there. You can get at me on Sports Talk at NC8 on Twitter, as well as Winston Hilton on Facebook. Sterling, thank you very much, man.
Thank you.
I always appreciate you. Have fun tomorrow night on Sports Talk on WJLA 24/7.
Yeah.
I know it should be fun.
Absolutely.
Because you walk in. You walk in. Because I walk in. Look, I'll tweet it out later on in the show, later on after the show. You'll get to see the meme that we're talking about.
If you're on social media, you've seen the video before.
I tweeted it out earlier. Okay, when he was coming on, I said I have to tweet this out. So if you check my Twitter on Sports Talk NC8, you'll be able to see that same meme of I'm just gonna call him Sterling. Okay? I'm going to call him Sterling. It's not Sterling for real, but it might as well be Sterling because that's how he flosses. Apparently the kids call it drip.
Yeah, that's what they call it now.
Kids call it drip. No man wants any drip. Okay, nobody. All right. With that said, that's going to do it for us on Redskins Relaunch. We'll see you here next time. Hey, look, if you're going down to Richmond, please drive safe. Watch 95. Okay, because I know more than likely you're in traffic now. Okay, trust me. No matter when you watch this or when you see this, you're in traffic on 95. And have a safe time down there. And cheer on the Redskins, #HTTR, and we will see you here on Redskins Relaunch next time. Peace.